Halloween Havoc debuted in 1989 as WCW's yearly October pay-per-view. In the first year, things were pretty simple. The logo was orange with a dripping effect to the lettering. The event took place at the Philadelphia Civic Center with an attendance of 7,300. The ring was also quite simple, with a lot of WCW blue but lacking any logos. Jim Ross and Bob Caudle handled commentary for the event, and as you can see, this was before WCW had broadcast booths set up by the stage area. Speaking of the stage area, it's very minimal with no logos or props, but that was pretty standard for the time. The backstage area was dimly lit with a black net for the backdrop, which is supposed to look like a spider web. The nameplate graphics featured the pay-per-view logo with an orange line through the wrestler's name, which appears in plain white text with a shadow effect. For 1990, the logo remains pretty much untouched. The event took place at the UIC Pavilion in Chicago in front of a crowd of 8,000. This year, the announce team is dressed up for the occasion, each with their own Halloween costume. The stage features a giant WCW logo with a pumpkin in the middle. There are also props like pumpkins and even a skeleton on the stage, but nothing really spectacular here. The ring now features WCW logos on the apron banners as well as a red canvas. The nameplates aren't much different from '89's pay-per-view, featuring the same orange line through the wrestler's name. 1991 saw a completely new logo, one they would use for quite a few years. The event took place in Chattanooga, Tennessee, with a crowd of 8,900. Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone are dressed up in suits this year, but Eric Bischoff can be seen dressed as a vampire. The stage featured the ever-so-famous gold backdrop curtain, which was used quite frequently during this time, and giant, slightly tilted WCW lettering in front of it. This year also marked the debut of headstone props, which can be seen scattered throughout the stage. The ring features the same apron banners as last year, with a dark gray mat. The nameplates for 91 feature the show logo to the left with the orange background on the right. In white lettering, you'll find the wrestler's name as well as information such as hometown and weight. For 1992, the logo doesn't feature the year for the first time. The event returned this year to the Philadelphia Civic Center in front of a crowd of 7,000. The show's commentators can be seen wearing suits with the exception of Jesse the Body Ventura, who was dressed in a costume. The font for the on-screen graphics features an Old English-style text. The ring is almost exactly the same as the previous year, only with a light blue canvas. The entry area is actually diagonal to the ring and is pretty limited, featuring only a curtain with a banner above and a few lights. The name badges go back to the orange line style but feature the same amount of information as 91. 1993 sees the same logo along with the same fonts used, only this time with additional graphics. The pay-per-view took place at the Lakefront Arena in New Orleans, Louisiana in front of 6,000 fans. The stage features even more props, but one can argue that it looks more like a Spring Stampede set than one for Halloween Havoc. The nameplate graphics feature the logo to the left with a purple line under the wrestler's name, which appears in that same Old English font we've seen before. The ring isn't much different, only now featuring plain blue apron banners for some reason. In 1994, the event took place in Detroit, Michigan at the Joe Louis Arena with 8,200 in attendance. The announce team now sits at the trademark booth located near the stage, only it's facing the ring, whereas in later years it would face the opposite direction. The on-screen font has been simplified and some bizarre-looking graphics have been added. This would be the first time we see the graveyard scene complete with a video screen, and the ring now dons that familiar WCW bullseye logo on the canvas. The nameplates feature that Old English font they've used before, but gone are the logos and additional information. In 1995, they added the year back to the logo and returned to Detroit, but this time bringing in 13,000 into the Joe Louis Arena. The announce team is introduced with the traditional Old English text with some goofy graphics on screen as well. The stage remains pretty much untouched from '94, and the same could be said for the ring and name badges. In 1996, the logo for the event was changed, and the event took place at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, where it would continue to take place until the very last pay-per-view in 2000. This one featured a crowd of 10,000. The announce team now has their backs to the ring as the booth faces opposite the action, which allows us to see the front of the booth. The font and on-screen graphics remain almost identical as they did the last few years. Another thing that hasn't really changed is the stage design, other than the logo on top of the entrance gate. Backstage interviews were done in front of a cheap-looking banner with the show's logo on it. Nameplates now feature yellow font as well as the show logo to the left. The biggest change comes to the ring, where the show logo as well as the sponsor's logo can be seen on the ring canvas. Also, the ring posts have been covered with padding that also contain the sponsor's logo on them. 1997 featured a revamped stage design complete with an additional video screen as well as the face from the event logo appearing as the centerpiece for the set. With the event once again being sponsored by Slim Jim, almost everything looks identical to 1996 with the exception of the nameplates going back to white-colored text. In 1998, the logo was changed yet again, appearing similar to the one that debuted in 1991, but this time featuring a pumpkin. The set would also see some reworking, with a giant pumpkin and gargoyle becoming the centerpiece. The announcer's booth features the new logo in a more simplistic font. This font carries over to the nameplates in the addition to the new logo, along with the gargoyle appearing in the on-screen graphic. The ring features the new logo on the canvas, incorporating a Snickers logo, the sponsor for the event, and a little less color as the ropes, turnbuckle pads, and posts are all black. $19.99 features a slightly modified logo with the addition of the new WCW logo. The set from 1998 was reused, with the new logo appearing on the pumpkin. In 1999, the announce tables were moved from the stage area to ringside, which can be seen here. The font that displays for the announcers is very different than anything used for the event in the past, and it's also used for the wrestlers' entrances along with the new logo. Just like in 96 and 97, this event was sponsored by Slim Jim, and like those events, the ring features their logos in the corners of the canvas, with a giant version of the new WCW logo in the middle. Backstage interviews are done in front of a black curtain with the new logo. In 2000, this logo was used for the last Halloween Havoc. This would be the first event in many years to not feature a stage based on the theme of the event. Instead, the same generic stage that was used for all other events was used here. The name badges feature a red background with white font for the announcers, and the logo appears for the wrestlers' nameplates. Backstage, a gate with the pay-per-view logo was used for the backdrop during interviews. As you can see throughout the years, things have changed quite a bit with the Halloween Havoc arena designs. My favorite, without a doubt, is 1998, but I also love the 1997 set as well. What are your favorites, and what are some arena showcases you'd like to see in the near future? Let me know in the comments section below, and thanks for watching.